You know, when I started doing my Spreaker podcast, which I still do, and at the same time, I recently started doing my doing the more video commentary, which I'm taking it like up to the next level by visualizing and doing my commentary. I didn't do this for likes or subs, or subs. If people want to subscribe, they subscribe, because they want to, because people that know my content, or they can look through my whole channel on my articles. I bring up some real stuff and I expose it for what it is, and I'm known for having that mentality like a Gaboon Viper to go in and just spray and just hit them with some truth venom. Well, this is a response to my video I did yesterday of this right here, and a troll got on there, some little queer. So to respond to that thing, I'm not even gonna worth mentioning name. The hell with you, and your dumb ass end up getting blocked. Now, moving right along, let's move forward into this. Y'all recognize this lady. Anybody that's from the Miami area, from the South Florida area, know this, the Joker in the dress, which I have come to confirm that she might not be a woman at all. That is Miami-Dade State Attorney Katherine Fernandez Rundle. And once again, to my apologies to my subs. All the years I used to think that she was of Puerto Rican descent. She might be, but I had to go back into my notes and found out, yeah, she is born of Cuban descent. So that explains everything. Again, Taurine Rain, I'm gonna take your trademark zesty spicy crackers. Katherine Fernandez Rundle for the past 15 years here, and I for one have always voted against her, has held that office for over a decade and a half. Through the years with Clinton, that explains the 3 strikes law. Through Bush 43, I'm sorry. And even through Obama. Ugh. And it seems like it's not going to be any difference with Trump. But that could change, because she's going to be up for re-election. Now, to all my people down in Overtown, Liberty City, Little Haiti, Wynwood, Little River, Brown Sub, Opelika, Hialeah, Seminole, Miami Lakes, Miami Gardens, formerly known as Carol City, and perhaps throughout all of Broward and Palm Beach County. I'm going all of my peoples up in Pembroke Pines, Miramar, Hallandale Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Deerfield Beach. What's up, Adam Brothers? And everywhere else. This piece of filth does not deserve to be a Miami-Dade State Attorney. And I want y'all to take a serious look, black people. Y'all seriously got to start researching these people before you start voting them into office, simply because the fact of the matter that, of all things, that she's a Democrat. That's already explained right there. Because the Democrats, the left, never had our best interests at heart. I've warned you plenty of times, as well as Professor Black Truth, Jason Black, Tariq Nasheed, Brother Poppy Bay, Brother Ambassador Goodman Ill, Irv Griffin, Mr. Superboy 223, and several others that I forget to mention. One LVZ, Town Biz, Ticket, all of them have said that neither one of those parties doesn't have our best interests. Malcolm said this 50 years ago. Democrat, basically, y'all know they affiliated with the Klan. Democrat, democracy. Democracy, Democrat. Democrat, Democrat, democracy. Democracy, mob rule of the demons. And she is no different than a demon. I told y'all she looked like the Joker, man. I mean, the Joker in the dress. If you go back and watch The Dark Knight and Heath Ledger's part of him dressed as a nurse. But I did some more digging, so this is like a follow-up to yesterday's on, because how she let 4 prison guards get away with murdering a schizophrenic black man who in prison by exposing him to scalding hot water that reached over 160, 180 degrees, where they went as so far as to have one of them testified against them. They moved the inmate to another prison in another state. The nurse who cared for the man couldn't find him, and she helped cover this up. Now she is very similar to Anita Alvarez, which thank God I'm glad that my people up in Chicago have voted her out. So to my Chi-Town fam, good job on this one. But we've been having our own and stuff, and I've been trying to get this bitch out for the longest. But the problem is with some black people, they're too damn lazy in order to do the research. But they could tell you everything about LeBron James' stats, or when the next pair of Jordans come out, but you won't want to dig no dirt on this right here. Now what I did find, and I'm going to go back in time here, and this is like from one of my peoples right here, from Luther Campbell, aka Uncle Luke, 2 Live Crew, Doodle Brown, don't stop, get it. Yes, the man who basically back in the 90s, 2 Live Crew took on the took on that asshole Nick Navarro, who was the sheriff of Nottingham in Broward County, and went to the Supreme Court, took their case all to the Supreme Court and won, because they violated free speech because of their obscene music and stuff, like Me So Horny and all that other stuff like that. Basically the same thing NWA went through. But I know the man on a personal level. But he also have echoed the same things about Katherine Fernandez Rundle, as I'm finna read this to you from the Miami New Times. She is no Janet Reno. And this was in 2012. We're in 2017. So let me just go ahead, let's get right into it. Luke, the man whose booty-shaking madness made the U.S. Supreme Court stand up for free speech, gets as nasty as he wants to be for New Times. This week, Luke's takes on the Miami-Dade State Attorney, Katherine Fernandez. Rundle is no Janet Reno, Miami-Dade's top prosecutor, who is a Democrat. Keyword Democrat, was mentored by Janet Reno, the late Janet Reno, who was Bill Clinton's attorney general. But now Rundle should just switch parties and embrace her GOP supporters. Might as well. So in case you haven't heard, this was back in 2012 now. She was in a dogfight with African-American criminal defense attorney Rod Vereen to win the August 14th Democratic primary. Primary, which also include 2 write-in candidates, have been closed to the Republican and independent voters thanks to a 2000 opinion from then Secretary of State Katherine Harris said that write-in candidates constitute legitimate opponents. Now, a pair of prominent Miami Republican lawyers, including an attorney who was on the team for supporting George W. Bush during the 2000 recount, are going to bat for Rundle. Can you believe that? I keep telling y'all, these people are in bed with each other. Roberto Martinez, another zesty spicy cracker, a former U.S. attorney for South Florida, is representing Armando Lacasa, a former Miami commissioner, who sued the Miami-Dade Elections Office in federal court last week in an attempt to open the primary to the Republican and independent voters. U.S. District Judge William Zloch dismissed the complaint because he said Lacasa had to sue the Secretary of State, not the county elections department, to challenge the law. Rundle is afraid, and still is, Vereen will beat her because she lost support among Miami-Dade's African-American voters, most of whom are Democrat. The reason, back then she prosecuted very popular black city commissioner Michelle Spence Jones, you know, and that's somebody else I also know personally as well, who was later cleared of some bribery charges and stuff. But she failed to go after the Miami cops who fatally shot 7 unarmed black men between 2010 and 2011. Now, this isn't within a whole year and still going today. Okay, now in 2004, despite facing Republican challenges, Rundle, like I said, she's Cuban. I don't know why they say Cuban American, but you know, they can't even speak a lick of English. Won a majority of Miami-Dade's Cuban American Republican vote. She won the re-election in 2008 with no opposition. Rundle Martinez Lacasa are making a big stink about GOP voters being disenfranchised because they can't vote in the upcoming primary. Basically, you have 2 Republican power brokers complaining that a Democrat doesn't have a fair shot in an election. Ain't that something? Or in my case, man, they can miss me with that bullshit. They can really. Well, Rundle wouldn't need her GOP benefactors to bail her out if she had done her job right. Instead, she's been the press conference prosecutor. Real evidence be damned. Rundle's always quick to brag to the media when she goes after a high-profile case. And back then, we're not just referring to Spence Jones. Rundle made a big deal when she charged Tyler Weinman, the young man from Palmetto Bay who was wrongfully accused of killing 19 cats in 2009. Yeah, we got some sickos here in my home territory, people. But when the case fell apart a year later, she didn't publicly apologize because she didn't want to get embarrassed. She got embarrassed, so she looking ignorant. And that is why she'll never hold a candle to her mentor, Janet Reno, who's handpicked Rundle to be her successor. And that's true. Now, when Reno was state attorney, she never let the media, you see this? She never let the media dictate her prosecutions. Reno never played politics. And the same can't be said about Rundle. Now, that last part, that's absolutely true. I was around during the high school and stuff when Janet Reno was still state attorney at that time. She didn't play the radio, but when it came to the media, she basically flipped the bird off to him. She don't never let her dictate her prosecutions. She goes by on the facts. She's by the book. Rundle. Now this one Luke was said. Keep in mind now. Let me just go back and remind y'all people. This isn't a new one. This was back in 2012. 2012. Okay, but I do have something else. This is a little bit more updated, which was today, and this was written again, New Times Again. I suggest y'all download that app because if you want to know about my home city, this is where it's at. Now Jerry Anelli, I'm not trying to big him up, but they got this right. Okay. Miami-Dade has had the same prosecutor since Bill Clinton was president. Beginning in 1993 through Clinton, Bush, Obama, and now Trump eras, which I don't doubt don't last long because midterms are coming up, people, so I'm going to get to that later. She has not once charged a police officer for on-duty killing. Not once. Now, Katherine Fernandez Rundle, who's damn near 70, she's about a year younger than Hillary, and 3 years younger than Tangerine, has done instead make decades worth of excuses for public officials accused of corruption and murder. Now, when a Miami-Dade cop tasered a man to death, that officer was in charge. When a Miami-Dade cop was fired for shooting an unarmed black man, the officer walked free and was later rehired. Now, when a group of cops lured robbers into the Redlands and shot them on video, Rundle declined to charge the officers. See, this right here that paragraph alone that goes to tell you that she's doing, basically practicing her white supremacy religion on the execution and killing of black people. But now, in neglecting to charge the 4 prison guards who threw a black schizophrenic inmate, which was Darren Rainey, may he rise in power, into a scalding hot shower for 2 hours until he died, Rundle has reached the all-time low. Now, the person who wrote this, his last name Anelli, so I'm assuming he's Italian. So, you know, it's like, man, they ain't got time for it. Rundle's office announced its decision not to pursue charges in Rainey's case late Friday afternoon. This is recent. The news dump was clearly designed to bury the story for the weekend and shield her from criticism. She should not be shielded. The facts of Rainey's case are grotesque. He was thrown into a 180-degree shower for 2 hours, and inmates said they heard him screaming that the water was too hot. Rainey was found dead, crumpled in a heap on the floor of the shower. Nurses who were interviewed at the time said that they saw the red burns on his body and that Rainey's skin was peeling off. Rundle, however, didn't believe the testimony from nurses and inmates. And they the ones who basically had hands-on with the man. And instead declined to bring charges against the 4 implicated guards. Citing the autopsy report, which claimed Rainey did not have burns on his body when he died, that has been criticized by the ACLU, which is the American Civil Liberties Union, Rundle announced Friday that the 4 state employees who forced a defenseless prisoner into a scalding shower until he died should go free. Now, the decision is just the latest in a long string of awful decisions by Rundle. Her office has made a living letting cops and county officials slide for questionable or downright criminal conduct. For one, the Miami Herald's 2015 investigation in state prisons called Cruel and Unusual documented multiple cases in which inmates were tortured, scalded with hot water chemicals, and literally gassed to death. Though the series led to rule changes and firings, Rundle has not charged any prison guards involved in those cases. And that's just the jails. Now here's a brief and by no means comprehensive list of recent cases in which Rundle has let police officers off easy. Let's go it down. In 2014, City Miami police officer Ronaldo Goyo shot and killed an unarmed man at a traffic stop. Miami PD's then police chief called the shooting unjustified, and a federal review of the department, based in part on Goyo's case, noted a pattern of excessive forces at the department. In 2015, a Miami cop shoots a homeless man in front of 50 children. The man was later identified as nonviolent. This was 2 years ago. Now, Miami Police Union president, this bitch ass motherfucker, another sassy spicy cracker, Javier Ortiz, doxed and harassed a woman because she videotaped and stopped the Miami-Dade cop who was speeding in his patrol car. Officer John Henson, who was repeatedly accused of beating up handcuffed subjects, including one incident that was caught on video. South Miami cop Aro Rizai shot an unarmed former college football player, Michael Gavins, in the back. Gavins said he was simply standing next to the hood of a police cruiser. Miami Beach cops shot a man to death on Alton Road during Art Basel after they appeared to confuse the sound of taser fire with gunfire. Alright. Miami Beach detective Felipe Archer, he beat up a woman on camera. Also a good Samaritan who tried to stop the beating. Miami Beach police once again taser 18-year-old skater Israel Rifa Fernandez, I remember this, to death because he had tagged a building with graffiti. In 2015, officers from Miami Beach, Miami-Dade County, and Hialeah fired 100-round bullets into a moving car, killing an innocent man. Okay, and most astounding, Rundle refused to charge the cops. Get ready for this one. involved in the so-called Redlands shooting, in which a group of Miami-Dade cops carried out a military-inspired ambush-style attack on an alleged armed mob. Shot men on video made conflicting statements to Rundle's office and they did, tampered with evidence. The cops in that case were sued for what lawyers said was a pattern of luring suspects into staged crimes and deliberately executing them. That's like putting cheese out on a rat trap and just baiting the rats to come in. This is just a small sample. It's a whole lot more. And yeah, I'm already gathering evidence on that. Now, granted, between 1989 to last year, not a single Florida cop who has killed anyone while on duty has been charged with a crime. My people in Deerfield Beach can probably relate to this. Broward County Sheriff's Department Peter Peraza, who was accused of manslaughter for admittedly killing 33-year-old brother Jermaine McBee, a computer engineer who was holding an unloaded air rifle and he was wearing earbuds. Peraza was allowed to use the state's deeply controversial stand your ground law to walk free. But that does not excuse Rundle's decision to effectively let corrupt or murderous city and county employees operate with impunity for 3 decades. It's just not cops and prison guards. Okay? Rundle's office also bungled an investigation into blatantly corrupt former Miami Congressman David Rivera, who basically was caught blowing more than $65K in campaign funds on personal items such as dental bills, pet care, travel costs for his then girlfriend. You know, yeah, he wanted being a sugar daddy. Around here tricking, as we call it. Rundle's office claimed he somehow justified all the money he has spent because he was continuously campaigning for more than a decade. Oh, and the state attorney's office claimed it was hampered by a 2-year statute of limitations. Which is 100% bone-faced lie. So, how such an obvious, inept, and or uncaring prosecutor kept the job for decades? Simple, by flying under the radar. In most big cities, the state or district attorney is constantly in the media. New York City tabloids devote entire stories to Manhattan DA Cyrus Vance Jr. Twitter photos, for example. The Philadelphia District Attorney's Office is the target of constant journalistic gossip and public scandal. Multiple members of DA Seth Williams' office were implicated in a porn sharing scandal, and then Williams himself declined to run for re-election after getting caught taking unreported gifts. Williams had formerly been the sort of guy who gave vanity interviews to local city magazines for fun. Nationally, prosecutors hold more power than judges. Okay, prosecutors decide whether to accuse people of crimes and which charges will be leveled in court. Judges simply rule on the decisions the prosecutors make. Let me read that to y'all again, people. Nationally, prosecutors hold more power than judges. Prosecutors decide whether to accuse people of crimes and which charges will be leveled in court. The judges just simply rule on the decision the prosecutors make. A 2016 Fusion investigation found that the nation's state and district attorneys are disproportionately white, male, and out of touch with the general public. Well, that could count for Katherine Fernandez Rundle, because after all, I still believe that bitch is a man. Now in Miami, however, the media rarely finds an excuse to print Rundle's name unless she's holding a news conference. The city media's outlets, New Times included, must do a better job of keeping constant pressure on Rundle for a series of lazy, unforced blunders and outright disgusting prosecutorial missteps. Rundle has run virtually unopposed in each of her last 3 elections. She has faced challenges from write-in candidates, but those barely count. Somehow, Miami Police Benevolent Association has found reason to oppose her more than once. Added media pressure would turn the race for county prosecutor into the spectacle it ought to be. Until then, cops in Miami-Dade will continue to operate knowing full well that they could kill people and get away with it. And this is the gentleman that reported this, which is very good. Okay, back to this hoe. This is why myself and a few others has said that this bitch here got to go. She has got to go. And this is why I always said that you focus on the local elections. Okay? As Professor Truth would say, that you're dealing with the cabal of not only with the race soldiers that has infiltrated police departments, but also you're dealing with these fuckers in the DA's office and the judge's chambers. Now, in case y'all want to know who this is, y'all know the Joker right here, you know. The lady right here, that happens to be Jennifer Valapi. I think she's a reporter for CBS News. If I'm wrong, let my people in Miami let me know. You know, I think CBS 4 or NBC 6, you know, which is a local news station down here in Miami. And this triple chin heifer is Ileana Ross-Layton, who happens to be a congresswoman, and she's not shit, so she doesn't represent my people. She doesn't represent or anything. A very little known history about her. Her father was one of Flumingo Batista's bodyguards, you know, the previous dictator of Cuba, before our man Fidel Castro and Ernesto Che Guevara ran his pussy ass up out of there. Her father was the bodyguard to the man who oppressed a lot of black Cubans and uplifted the oligarch of so-called white Cubans. And as you can see, like I said, it's a reason why myself, Tony Rain, and all and why we call these motherfuckers Zasty Spicy Crackers, because see, they want to be fucking Caucasian so bad. Look at this shit, the blonde tips and all this other stuff like that. Now take a good look at Kathy Fernandez Rundle. The bitch, she got no shape, no curves, no nothing. I mean, really. I mean, I can't even stand to look at the face right now because it's just horrible. It's just real horrible. But black people and everybody in general, the midterms are coming up. The local elections are coming up. And they're going to be coming up very shortly. Now, if y'all hear noise in the background like somebody talking, please dismiss it out there. Please dismiss it. Okay? This is why we say we focus on local elections. Do not focus on the presidential election. They don't count. It's people like this that enforce laws that affects us directly. Of course, she's going to cover stuff up and fabricate evidence and all this stuff. She's never charged a cop, a corrupt cop. She's never charged a corrupt politician. But she sure was hell-bent on going after Michelle Spence Jones, who I know personally, and I'm not going to lie, she had gotten in bed with the wrong people, and that's what nearly cost her, but she was always an honest lady. She just had an error in judgment. This knuckle-dragging, pencil neck, gosh, she looked like the joke. I can't even stand looking at this whole picture. I swear I can't. You know, but what I'm gonna do though, this is my follow-up to that though. So people want to know what's going down here in Miami when it comes down to it. I'll say it like this: I can tell you that firsthand. On top of that, I'm gonna leave a link to the description to both those articles I just read, so you can go back over there and read it for yourself. But it's just not here in Miami, but also in your area too, because this is our version of Bonita Alvarez to my peoples up in Chicago, up in Chi-Town and stuff. And here, down here, in all the areas I said, Overtown, Liberty City, Brown Sub, Opelika, Little River, Little Haiti, Wynwood, Seminole, Miami Lakes, Miami Gardens, Norwood, everywhere like that. Get your ass to the polls. Vote this hoe out. Because you're looking at an evil cabal. We got the race soldiers in the police department. You got these racist motherfuckers like her in the DA's office and also in the judge's chamber. What you got is an evil cabal. A cabal. And they're operating and going ahead and murdering indigenous people with impunity. And she's helping them do it. What they did to Brother Rainey is totally unconstitutional, and it's also it's a violation not only of constitutional right, but it's a violation of human rights too. Get rid of this bitch. I don't care. In the famous words of Malcolm X, do it by either the ballot or the bullet.